to see your team grow in ways that maybe they haven't had the right people around them to lead by example, to show them how they can take growth moments or step forwards or do things differently. What are you going to do differently to help facilitate that?
Well, the one thing I've definitely learned in the last few weeks is I need constant communication, because the one thing that went away the most with the COO is there was only the team calls. Outside of the team calls, I wouldn't communicate with my team, not on the phone at least. So
In your perspective, do you think you're approachable to your team
in that
or
time,
accessible to them?
probably no. But the biggest part was, forget about me even seeming approachable or not. There was too many unknowns for my team. I don't think they even knew what to do because they weren't downloading the consciousness from me consistently enough. So one thing I experimented with our new tour manager, Al, is right away from the first day he came on training with us, I said, Al, I want you to send me voice notes every day, and I'm going to go back and forth with you in voice notes every day. Like, do you know what a voice note is? I go,
Valid question.
it could be you just shooting the shit and talking like we're friends. It could be you asking me a question. It could be me just telling you a thought that may be disconnected or connected to what we're talking about. I said, I just want to have communication with you because it's going to start to rub off and you're going to understand and see the vision. My frustration as a leader is that obviously it's obvious to me. I see what 3 years looks like. I see what 5 years looks like. So clear, it might as well be happening right now. Every single bit, every bit of it. And I have to do a better job of just relaying that
All right, so
to the
I'm
team.
going to play devil's advocate. I'm actually going to challenge you in front of your people here. Okay. Do you think there's a better way for you to communicate that, even than voice notes? Communicate with your employees, get connected.
How?
Pick up the phone, talk to them, show them your human side, so they realize that you're not. And I don't know because I don't work for you, and I haven't. The reason why I'm trying to say this is because I'll give everybody a little bit of background. So I'm a manager. I'm a sales manager. I have a decent sized territory. I manage North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. I have 12 senior sales engineers that on average have a $12 million quota that they have to go sell into the construction market. It's very high stress. It's very labor intensive. They don't punch a clock. They own what they're supposed to execute on. The biggest difference that I've seen with their motivation, and I can honestly say this, is number one, they all know I got their back. If they have an issue that they need to go to battle with, I'm there, usually leading the charge in front of them. I've influenced their behavior by allowing them to allow me into their lives to be alongside them as they do all of the challenging things that they have to execute on. I've also put myself in a position in front of their customers, in front of C-suite people, in front of presidents, owners, general contractors, end users, where they can model their behavior after me, their own version of it. But they'll see how I can connect with people in a way that allows them to say, hey, maybe I could do this. So basically, going back to what we were saying before, I'll lead by example, and then they can create their own identity with it and take it to wherever they want to go. But they also know it and they feel it. They can call me anytime. I want them to call me anytime. They call me on the weekends. If they need me to be somewhere, I'm there. And if they need me to pick them up and push and fight with them to get whatever they need accomplished, I feel every single one of them would say that I'm there to be able to do that. So that's motivating out of respect, right? So now here's what happens, which is interesting. And I see this. I could see this in the way they communicate with me, and I could see this with their behavior too as well. They don't want to disappoint me
Right.
at all, because they know that I'll be there to help them. But they also, the flip side of it is they know they want to put the effort in to make sure that they're doing a good job for their own success. But it's almost like it's like, see, look how good I can do. And I share that with them. I share the feedback with them.
It takes
I
a
coach
really
them.
specific type of person to be good at that. I'm good at that. I can be good at that. I removed myself from that. That was the problem, right?
That's what I figured. That's why I asked you.
I tried to hire the COO these last 3 years, right? And shove somebody, even in AJ number 2 days. So when I say I had an employee who also is named AJ, and we started calling him AJ number 2, which is probably unfair because that means I'm AJ number 1. We also called him Akeem because he told me that AJ stood for Akeem Jamal, and I thought he was serious. So Akeem tried to shove him into that role, failed miserably because it just didn't make sense, right? Tried to shove Tony into that role, didn't work. Tried to shove Hannah into that role, didn't work. Every time it just made the team culture worse because I had to then I was like the bad guy in a sense. I was still doing vision building and all the important big picture stuff. And then I would when I would take my look down and see what people are up to, I found nothing but just, they missed this. They didn't do this. They didn't think of this. What the heck were they thinking when they did this? And so when I would have my interaction, it was almost always only negative because that was all I could see was all of the things that they were doing wrong.
Yeah, and you were kind of measuring them against. You have a different level of stress.
I was measuring each of them against how I think I could perform in each of their things. This is the tricky part too, because in creating this business, I've done all of the things. And I was also very good at all of the things. So marketing, video content creation, I could do all of it. And I could do it all at a really high level. So it's now with the COO out of the picture and me coming back in, it's fun because it's a collaboration to where they're getting to see, oh, wow, this guy is, I think before it was like, why does this guy have such a high expectation and he probably couldn't do it himself?
You're in a tough spot because in order to motivate your people more, you got to relinquish some of the control and allow them to have their own identities with it. They own the execution part. But by the way, make no mistake about it, to the people listening to this, we all have great ideas in our head. We all do. And it's when you're put in front of a situation where you have to take it to task, what I'm finding out is people's personal profiles come into play, whether it's lack of confidence.
Right.
It's, it kind of goes back to the way you used to think about racing. The number one thing stopping them or preventing them from moving forward and executing the way they do is themselves. It's the most bizarre phenomenon ever. And that's why it's very important that we empower the people in our lives that are supporting our efforts, because when you do that the right way, it allows them to break down barriers that they should. And we've got to be alongside of them to help them break down those barriers. I'm literally going it through right now with a couple of my employees. And they're new, they're younger. But that's also why I'm out there, so they can model their behavior after, or wherever they want to take it, after examples that I've given them in front of the customer. It's very powerful for them. And then I talk about it. And I actually have one-on-one coaching sessions with them, by the way. So if there's a certain individual on your team that you think has the potential to go somewhere, you own the part. You do own the part to help coach them through it. And it's not like a performance review. It's more just kind of helping them execute on the things that they should be executing on. And I do that bi-weekly with them. They come back, they go out and they do their stuff. And they kind of come back and they're like, oh no, these are some, I did this. They get all excited. Like, oh, I did this. And I was able to talk to this customer. I'm working on this big deal now. And I'm like, see? And they have all these little mini aha moments. Like, I can do this.
If you guys enjoyed this podcast clip and you want to listen to full episodes, you can do so on Spotify and Apple Music. If you want to send in your own video submission, you can join us in the Moto Academy family inside of the Moto Academy app by just going to themotoacademy.com. That's also where you can sign up for a class. Okay, guys, see you next episode.